All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So today I wanted to go over the Global Labs patch notes for August 25, so that was a few days ago when they uploaded it. And I wanted to talk about some of the grind spots that are getting buffed, and when I read most of them, these are spots that I actually do have a lot of hours into, and I wanted to talk about them. So, first of all, hold on a second. So Tungrad Ruins is actually the new spot that they added with the Ulukita region. And admittedly, I don't have too much time grinding in that one in particular, but the other ones I do. So when you look at this and you see Tungrad Ruins and City of the Dead, those are the two new grind spots, the 310 and 320 AP zone. But admittedly, I don't have enough experience grinding there, so I don't know what's good or bad. But let's just read it anyway. Added a different message when displaying when the Wuterak disappears away from him in Tungrad Ruins. By the way, this is Google translated from Korean, and so I'll try to do my best to try to explain it in a way that makes sense to the English way they would translate it. When away from the, I assume that is the mini boss that spawns. You know how like when you fight various grind spots, sometimes a boss will spawn. I assume that is what it means. So the message has been changed to be displayed in a twice as wide area. So I guess that means, like, you know how there's no like official grind spot, but I assume like there's point A, B, and C for grind spots. I guess this is just bigger. It has been changed that so when the boss summons at the Tungrad monster zone at least once before they disappear, when the distance increases. I have no idea what that meant. That was hard to read. What in the world? All right. When defeating the Tungrad deliverer, HP will not be stored even if nearby enemies fall into status ailments when out of combat. Fix the issue where two Tungrad guides in some areas. I think from my experience when we explored the region, you could watch that video of mine. I think it was just like last week. Usually when you grind in that spot, there's like a named enemy that has a green name tag. I assumed there were multiples when there should be one. City of the Dead, that's the 310 area. Monsters near some NPCs have been removed. That's always good. That's actually been an issue that I've had with a lot of random grind spots, and it's not something that I really took note of, but you know how if you put some enemies too close to a node manager or something, they'll just like attack your horse or something? I think that's good that they're removing them from certain NPCs. I think one spot in particular is Basham's, and admittedly I haven't grinded there in multiple years, but that was one of the spots that like I just remember from years ago where it's like really hard to find a safe spot when in the good grinding area. So next we have Aakman in Hystria, and Grey Forest is Ash Forest, by the way. So recently, if you guys have watched my video, you would know that I have grinded over 500 hours in the past year, maybe year and a half, trying to get my compass, and I finally did it about like 2 months ago. So I have a lot of hours in Aakman and Hystria, more in Hystria admittedly, but anyway. So the price of trash loot from when killing the enemies goes from 7,500 to 13,000 silver. And I think this is actually good because both Aakman and Hystria are very good grind spots with Agris. So I think that the fact that they're raising the trash loot price is really good, and hopefully it makes these spots more competitive. And I unironically think that Hystria with Agris is a really good low-key grind spot. Without Agris is not really, but I think the change might be more competitive. So Aakman Temple is a specialist hunting ground for Agris Fever. Yeah, I just mentioned that. In the case of the change. It's not retroactive, so if you saved up 1,000,000 trash loot now, it's not going to be buffed later. That is what they're saying. So good change. Anyone who grinds Aakman, you just get more silver an hour. And the price of trash loot at Hystria is also being increased. I wish they changed this like 2 years ago, because I would probably have like hundreds of billions of more silver. I'm going to be straight up honest, but it is what it is. I'm happy with my compass. I don't regret anything. Hystria Ruins is a very good spot to grind, and the only downside is grinding Hystria and Aakman is just out of the way, and you have to find a portal, or you have to do that desert quest to be able to go in manually and take the teleport from the NPC. Or if you guys haven't done it, one low-key tip that people do is tag a sage, and when you tag a sage, you can go into Aakman and Hystria and Katuga, and I believe Sakraya for free. That's the sage passive that they get. So that's why I had my sage tagged for over a year, and now that we got it, that sage is gone. Sage is not a bad class, by the way. It's actually very good, but for the sake of just getting into Hystria consistently, I would recommend tagging a sage there. And so a little bit of, I guess, data that I've collected over the years is with Hystria, in 1 hour, you use about 20,000 agris in, I guess, the Marnie realm zone. That's my point of reference. And if you, assuming the worst luck, I usually averaged about 20 to 22,000 trash loot an hour, which right now would be, with agris, I think that is 300 million silver. So now it'll be, I guess, doubled that, or 8,000 more times 20,000. So probably a little bit under 500 mil an hour just off trash loot, which is very good. And usually you get a lot of red shards and then maybe a Tungrad accessory from there. So I can actually see people making like upwards 1 billion an hour just on a regular, assuming you use agris, because I have multiple videos where I have gone between like 400 mil all the way up to 1 billion silver an hour at the current time. And when it gets buffed, I can see people just shooting up over 1 billion at Hystria. So I think this is a very good change, and can't wait for it to appear. Maybe we'll do a throwback and then grind Hystria again. Next we have Ash Forest, and the amount of Spectre's Cloth that you can get from Volcrus, Varnus, and Gyros has been increased. So anyone who's grinded Ash Forest, you guys know that that has got to be one of the worst grind spots. So to give you a little bit of an idea of what the experience is now, I get one Deboreka earring maybe every 4 to 5 hours. And if you don't get a Deboreka, you're making about maybe 2 to 400 mil an hour off trash loots, and if you sell Capris and everything, it doesn't feel good. For like a 300 AP spot, if you don't get a Debo there, it doesn't feel good. And I don't know, it's something that really needed to be buffed. I think that the fact that they know it's not a good spot is a good thing. They changed loot to be doubled, but is it really going to be much of a difference? No. What they have to do at Ash Forest is, I think, realistically, raise the drop rate of the non-Dekia Ash Forest for Debos, and maybe raise the price of the trash loot from like 3,500 to about maybe like 50k. And here, I want to show you something. So I have some hours into Hystria, or not Hystria, Ash Forest. I think if I were to make a wild guess of how many hours since it's released, I think I have maybe about probably 150 hours at Ash. And right now we're actually going for a Debo neck, and so I've been saving up all of these. We're gonna do one big enhancing video one day, and so I've just been saving them, and I'm gonna buy a Tet, and then we're just gonna cron slam it and hope for the best. So yeah, that's my experience now. If you guys have seen me enhance demos in my older videos years ago, obviously we don't have it, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. But yeah, if I were to change Ash Forest, what would I do? Raise the drop rate in both Dekia and non-Dekia Ash Forest for the demos. Raise the price of the trash loot. And I think right now what they have is, it's okay, but is it really going to make much more silver an hour? Not really. It's a 300 AP spot. That means it's not easy. And even if you're just using like your standard frenzy draft and everything, sometimes you just still have to be very careful. So that's one of those things. So that's what I wanted to talk about with these new monster changes. And yeah, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it. I think in the future we're going to be trying the Tungrad Ruins and the City of the Dead grind spots. And I've done it in our old video a little bit just to test it, but I've never done like hours there. I assume all of the super geared players are there, but yeah, that's about it. That's what I wanted to talk about. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you come back. And yeah, we're just kind of waiting for new stuff to happen. And I want to talk about in the next video, probably the new season changes that they're coming out with next week. And yeah, that's going to be interesting news. So with that said, once again, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'm out. Peace.